Shalom and welcome to this episode of Daily Bread. This is episode 2. I am the mandated reporter, and this episode is chapter 1 of the book, Spiritually Contaminated. Have you been exposed? Who is Jesus? To properly frame this and further discussions, it is necessary to begin with a foundational understanding that underpins all subsequent content. The assertion may challenge many conventional Christian perspectives. Jesus is the law. I know many of you listening don't like that I use his English name Jesus, but I will be continuing to use the name Jesus throughout this study and future episodes because that name is what many people know. Now, I want to repeat what I said. Jesus is the law, and yes, you heard that correctly. Jesus is the law. Now, before I'm completely dismissed because of the statement I just made, I urge you to listen with a critical mind. The views presented will be substantiated by scriptural evidence, providing a solid basis for the claims made in each episode. Now, let's start with John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. I'll be reading from the Amplified version of the Bible. Verse 1 says, "In the beginning, before all time, was the Word, Christ, and the Word was with Yah." Now, I know if you're reading along, you said, but it says God. I don't like to use the word God because there are many gods. And so I like to be specific to the Elohim, the creator God. So when you hear me say Yah, just know that I want to be specific to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not just God, which is just a generic term, even though it's capitalized to let people know, oh, it's this one. But if I'm speaking, others may not know that I'm being specific to the Elohim, the Lord of Lords. And so I want to be clear. When you hear me say Yah, it's just because I want to make it known that I'm speaking of Yah. And the Word was Yah himself. Verse 2, he was present originally with Yah. Verse 3 says, all things were made and came into existence through him. And without him was nothing, even one thing made that has come into being. Verse 4, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. Verse 5 says, and the light shines on in the darkness, for the darkness has never overpowered it, put it out, or absorbed it, or appropriated it, and is non-receptive to it. Verse 9, skipping down, there it was, the true light was then coming into the world, the genuine, perfect, steadfast light that illuminates every person. Verse 10, he came into the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him, did not know him. Verse 11, he came to that which belonged to him, to his own, his domain, creation, things, world, and they who were his own did not receive him and did not welcome him. Verse 12 says, but to as many as did receive and welcome him, he gave the authority, power, privilege, and right to become the children of Yah. That is, to those who believe in, adhere to, trust in, and rely on his name. Verse 13 says, who owe their birth neither to bloods nor to the will of the flesh, that of physical impulse, nor to the will of man, that of a natural father, but to Yah. They are born of Yah. And verse 14 says, and the Word, Christ, became flesh, human, incarnate, and tabernacled, fixed his tent of flesh, lived a while among us, and we actually saw his glory, his honor, his majesty, such glory as an only begotten Son receives from his Father, full of grace, favor, loving kindness, and truth. Now, I want to turn our attention to Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 20. And this is taken from Shem Tob's Hebrew Matthew. It says, at that time, Jesus said to his disciples, do not think that I am come to annul the Torah, but to fulfill it. Truly I say to you that until heaven and earth depart, not one letter or dot shall be abolished from the Torah or the prophets, because all will be fulfilled. Verse 19, he who shall transgress one word of these commandments and shall teach others shall be called a vain person in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever teaches them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. At that time, Jesus said to his disciples, truly I say to you, if your righteousness is not greater than the Pharisees and the sages, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus recognized that mankind could not uphold all 613 laws on their own, yet he descended to reveal to us the way. Him. He is the way. The Torah is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus saith, I am the way, the truth, and the life. no man cometh unto the Father but by me. That's from John chapter 14, verse 6. The Torah is also known as the teachings and the law. The Targums in Aramaic refers to Jesus as the Memra. Memra means the word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with Yah, and the word was Yah. This is taken from John chapter 1, verse 1. True freedom is found in the Memra, who is the way. There is only one path to the way. Shameless plug to my blog, One Path to the Way. Go and visit www.onepathotheway.wordpress.com. And his name, translated into English, is Jesus. Yah is salvation, is what Jesus means. Freedom from the law means freedom from Jesus. Without the law, a person becomes lawless, a son or daughter of Belial, the lawless one, the useless one. We then become guilty under the law of sin and death. Jesus descended to be a sacrifice for us all. Accepting his sacrifice brings us under the law of grace. Yah the Father, Yah Spirit, and Yah as Jesus the Word. These three are one, Echad. With this foundational understanding established, we can now properly proceed with our study on spiritual contamination. Thanks for listening to this episode of Who Jesus Is. We can now move forward with our study on spiritual contamination. Our next episode is entitled Accursed Items in the Home. Until next time, Shalom.